I've been thinking about getting a new GPU. Been running with a 5600 XT for, since June 2020. Seemed like a bad decision at the time, but yeah, kind of changed somewhat quickly. Prices jumped and all that. Overall, I think I probably should have gone with the 2060 KO in hindsight, but regardless, the problem is that uh, finding a good option in that price range has just not been a thing. The new NVIDIA announcements, like 50 series, just been trash. 10 to 20% uplift per SKU versus what kind of expect would be like a 35 to 40% for GPUs at a minimum. Pretty pathetic. Leaks are saying that AMD's next generation's looking pretty good. Top models, perform like a 4080 roughly. Uh, it's a good look. Uh, the thing I'm wondering about that though is just like my use case. I've obviously been using my PC as like a content creation machine, and I haven't had issues with using my GPU for that. People always like freak out about uh not using AMD stuff for production work. It's not really an issue. On Adobe Suite in particular, it's just like normal. Things run well. Everything's well supported. But uh since I've been wanting to move into the direction of switching to Linux, like actually seriously, like not those people who are like always pretending in the comments or like whatever. Like I've tried it in the past on my system. I have a separate drive with a boot of Fedora KDE right now. I've just been trying to move right away from using the Adobe Suite in general, and that's kind of where my main concern when picking up like AMD's new gen, because I probably would get like the second top version of what they're selling. Like the performance I'm looking for is like 1.5 times or like 2.5 times stronger than what I currently got. Which puts that in like the 4070 Super 7800 XT range of performance. It kind of goes up each gen, but I also don't need anything crazy. I'm just running 1440p. And like the GPU performance is not really what I'm worried about in that case. Because I want to switch from Adobe stuff. That means dropping stuff like After Effects, which is a problem because like when you actually want composite effects work or title cards or have any sort of animation, kind of just out for luck right now. So I've been thinking about using Blender more and learning that to be just like an open source option, be able to put fun things in the video without having to worry about it. But the problem is just AMD's Blender performance has just always been terrible relative to like everything else. So that's one thing I'm waiting for the announcement of their GPUs to like tell me. It's like, hey, have you made any sort of strides in fixing this issue? Because video rendering is not like a big deal at this point. Like AV1's going to be the standard upcoming, so I'm not really worried about that. NVENC doesn't have like a strong lead at this point. And the other thing that's making me hesitant to go AMD again is just their lack of commitment towards making a CUDA replacement, because they were originally sponsoring a open source translation layer called Zaluda, and then they pulled all their funding from it and support, which I don't know if that means is that they're going to continue it closed source, and just include it in one of these gens. Like I wonder if they're waiting until their UDNA serious to commit to that is the thing that's concerning me. I don't use CUDA applications very much, but for like a lot of my hobbies, being able to run like upscaling scripts uh, are almost all like CUDA exclusive, which is very annoying. But price competitive, that just doesn't seem like quite right. I'm not really concerned about like performance or VRAM. Uh, like I'm fine with going with 12. I get the compromises. So like 5070 doesn't seem awful, but also the price is just high for like what it is. Yeah, I've been looking, trying to find like 4070s like secondhand for like around $400, or like 4070 supers like below 500. That hasn't gone too well because that's also another option, but AMD and Nvidia have been like choking supply, like because they were considering launching their next gen late last year, and they just decided not to liquidate the rest of their supply, and it's working. Like Newegg prices these days are just through the roof, which makes it kind of hard to talk about legacy prices for people who aren't like too clocked in about what it's been like. So unfortunately, I've been put in the position where I'm just gonna have to spend more. Like I spent like $290 for my last GPU, and I'm probably gonna spend closer to $500 this time. Luckily I have the money for it. The reason why I'm talking about GPUs again is just because, while AMD's drivers have been like fine, like people make a big deal about that. I've only really had major issues when it came to their OpenGL drivers, which only really come up if you're doing like emulation and or playing like Minecraft and stuff. Just like years of uh, full screen behavior issues. Well, first it was like just bad performance relative to NVIDIA. Like their driver was just way underdeveloped for some reason. Then they fixed the performance, but then stability like took a big shit. Uh, like I had huge issues with full screening applications, which just cause complete driver crashes. So like just it was always like a gamble to even like try it. That was an issue for like over a year. That finally got fixed. It was nice, but then I've been stuck on their August driver for a long time. That driver has like an annoying issue where like uh it opens up the utility every time your computer wakes from sleep, which is really annoying. I always like walk away from my computer quite often, just having to close it every time, over and over. And then those further updates after that one all had crashing issues, which was a constant problem in the run up to this. So for their February like branch driver, like it's their optional driver, like for some reason you can't like, I don't know why the updater stopped working. Like there's an option to tick to offer you optional drivers, but this just doesn't come up as an option for the past two ones. It's weird. So that optional driver, I tried downloading it recently while I was in the middle of capturing footage for my upcoming Xenoblade X DE video. But the problem with that was like I loaded the new one. It was working just fine. I recorded the footage. No issues, no artifacts, nothing like that. Because normally, like, moving around different windows will just cause driver crashes, especially when selecting text boxes. I've found out later. It seems to be one of the biggest triggers of it. Installed it, was working fine. I could finally open like DaVinci Resolve, which didn't work because it was using a much older driver than anticipated, so it just wouldn't open it or detect my like August driver that was on. So that was a big fix. That opened up, all worked. By the end of the day, I started getting those crashing issues back again. And I was like, okay, I need to solve this because I think it'll work. But unfortunately, that required using like the outside software display driver uninstaller. I ran that twice like you're supposed to and all that in safe mode. I deleted the driver I was on and reinstalled the same optional driver again. Unfortunately, when you do that, a lot of the cache shaders stuff goes away and like a lot of your settings will just be like a little bit off from what you're expecting. I forgot to like save my settings with like my games and all that, so I have to like reset all those in the Adrenaline software. Basically, after I got it reset, it seemed to be working at least. I recorded more B-roll, which took a bit of time because like it had to reload the shaders, so there'd be like flickering white artifacts around as I was loading them in. I was like mapping it out for it, so I did that. So that recording took almost twice as long as it should have, which was fine. I was like, okay. Got through that, recorded for like 2.5 hours. Then after that, did a Hitman recording. That was 2 hours. Pretty great episode. Funny problem though. I use OBS doing display capture just because I've found it's like most reliable for across programs instead of window capture. So when I went back to check the footage, it was all black. I was like, oh no. Did I just waste 6 hours of my day? The answer is yes. Opening up OBS again, it just like didn't detect my monitor as the same thing for some reason. So it was deselected. And I didn't check the preview like a dummy. So that's why you're getting this instead of a Hitman video today. Sorry about that. I do wonder, it's coming up here with the whole GPU situation. It's kind of interesting. I hope you liked this little rambling video I did. I just recorded it on my phone. So that's why I sound a little silly. Now you. Peace out.